Well, this week we're going to go back to do a little more work in history. You will finish up reading the last chapter in Foley's From Age to Age, and then read some of the documents that were issued after the Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy to ensure its orderly implementation. This, Ed Foley calls that it's too early to assess this period or to summarize this period. And I guess I tend to agree with him because really when I was doing my doctoral work, this period was not something that we really studied. So much of the writing was being done in more pastoral journals, and so that the preparation period before the Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy, before the Second Vatican Council, they were the secondary sources, and we were steered away from really looking at those secondary sources. But now they are primary documents, primary sources for a whole different kind of research. So there are many books now coming out about this sort of hidden period in the Church's history, seeing how Vatican II, Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy, didn't just come out of the blue. The ground was carefully prepared by organizations and by individual people. I wrote a biography, my last book is a biography of one of those leaders in the liturgical movement who was educated in Germany, so he knew the real sources that were in that country that were coming out and how the ground there was being prepared, and then he exported it to the United States. He was actually sort of evicted from Germany at the time of the Nazi uprising. One of the monks at Marialoch, when I interviewed him, he said he really thought Father Reinhold was saved for the United States, that his vocation was to implement the liturgical movement in the United States. He certainly wasn't alone. There were a lot of other people who were involved in that, most famously Virgil Michael at St. John's Abbey. But Father Reinhold came here just at the time Father Virgil died, so he really picked up in many ways some of the mantle, you could say, as a leader of the liturgical movement here in the United States. I want to read the story. It's a very fascinating biography, if I do say so myself. I wrote it not because his life is so interesting, because really his life is interesting, but he had a voice. He wrote voluminously, and he had a voice that really needed to be heard in our age as well as in his own. So that's why I invested my 10 years of my spare time in writing and researching his biography. I've added a few other things on the website. I put in a link to the United States Catholic Conference documents. They're on the FDLC website, the Federation of Diocesan Liturgical Commissions. Vatican II related documents, and then the USCCB documents that might be of interest to you as well. It helps you to see that the impetus for all of this was really with the papacy and not some, renegades that were running away with the liturgical movement, that this really had the authority of the papacy behind it, and still does. When you're reading the three documents that came out, the instructions that came out after the Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy to ensure for its orderly implementation, I realized that there might be many questions that you have. First of all, these are different kinds of documents. They're instructions. So they're written to a specific community in a specific time for a specific purpose. And so they presume that the reader knows that reality. I was there. I know that reality. You weren't. And so you might have lots of questions. And please put them on the message board. I think it might help, though, if you have, rather than just questions, if you change the subject line under that topic to a different thread, so that we could easily see somebody wants to know about concelebration, someone wants to know about the Latin language, just there could be a myriad of things that you'd want to know about, and that way it's easier for us to see the organization of the questions that you might have. They're always welcome. Questions on the message board, or email me, or telephone me, whichever might be most helpful to you. In the coming weeks, we're going to look at architecture. So there's a lot in this chapter that's another person might not cover in that section of the liturgy. But because of Ed Foley's focus on those separate topics, he follows that through in the last chapter. But we're going to spend a separate unit on architecture, as we will on language and on music. But there's an additional document, or it's a monograph that I told you in the beginning of the semester that I have for each of you. So if you wouldn't mind emailing me and telling me the best way to get that document to you. If it's a mailing address, that's fine. Just give me your mailing address. And if you want to pick it up in the office, that's fine. Just let me know which one works best for you. Okay? I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you with the next topic. Bye.